If you've ever been to a casino, you know that loud, exciting noise is coming from the craps table. That's because craps is a thrilling game with some of the best odds for the player to win money. In this video, I'll break down what you need to know to help you learn how to play craps online. So what's the object of craps? Well, in simple terms, players are betting on what they think the outcome of a dice roll will be. This is what the craps table looks like. Yes, lots of betting options on the table that may look intimidating, but I'll break down everything you need to know to help you get started in the wonderful world of craps. Before I get into rolling the dice and the bets that you can make, I'd like to talk about the on-off puck quickly. This puck has two sides, a black side that says off and a white side that says on. Before the shooter rolls what's called the come-out roll, this puck will be in the off or black side, and you can make your bet. If the puck is on the on or white side, a point has been established and the puck will be placed inside the corresponding number. Let's talk about rolling the dice. Like I mentioned earlier, the first roll of the dice is known as the come-out roll. Before the roll is made, bets are then typically placed on either pass or don't pass. The pass line bet is probably the most popular bet on the table. If you've placed your bet on the pass line, you win if the roller, or the shooter as it's known in craps, rolls a 7 or an 11. Your bet loses if a 2, 3, or 12 is rolled. And as for the don't pass bet, the opposite is true. A 2 or a 3 is a win, while a 12 is a push, and a 7 or 11 is a loss. So what happens if any other number is rolled? Well, that means that the game enters the point phase, and the shooter rolls repeatedly until they hit that same number again. A 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10, or they roll a 7. In this stage of the game, if the shooter rolls that number before they roll a 7, the pass bets win. If they roll a 7 before they roll that number again, the don't pass bets win. These bets pay even money. Basically, if the pass bets win, the other loses, and vice versa. You can also make a bet called odds. These bets are placed behind your pass line bet. Let's use up to 2 times as an example. If you bet on this, you can bet 2 times your bet that the shooter rolls the point number before the 7. Odds bets pay as follows. 4 and 10 pay 2 to 1. 5 and 9 pay 3 to 2. And 6 and 8 pay 6 to 5. Another thing to note is that in the point phase, if the shooter rolls a 2, 3, 11, or a 12 when the puck is on, nothing happens. You don't win, you don't lose. Unless, of course, you have a separate bet on something else. You can also make what's called a place bet. Let's say we're into the point phase of the game with 4 being the established point. You can bet any of those other box numbers, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10, before the shooter rolls a 7 and win your bet. The odds are slightly different in place bets. 4 and 10 pay 9 to 5. 6 and 8 pay 7 to 6. And 5 and 9 pay 7 to 5. Let's look at the come and don't come bets. These bets are placed after the come-out roll and are closely related to the pass and don't pass bets. A come bet would be similar to pass, and don't come would be similar to don't pass. Let's break down the come bet. The only real difference between the come bet and the pass line bet is that you can only place the come bet after the come-out roll when the point has been determined. Your come bet gets placed here and will win on a roll of 7 or 11 and loses if any of the craps numbers, 2, 3, or 12 are rolled. If a 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10 is rolled, this becomes your point bet. So in this example, let's say a 9 is rolled and becomes the point for this round. With the 9 as the point, your come bet would win if that is rolled before a 7. Another note here is that you can also take odds on any come, don't come bet. The don't come bet, placed here on the table, has opposite results to what was explained for the come bet. If a 7 or 11 is rolled, you lose. If a 2 or 3 are rolled, you win. But if a 12 is rolled, it's a push. In craps, you can also make proposition bets. There are a ton of different prop bets on the table, and the most appealing thing here is that the payouts are pretty big. The flip side of that coin is that the house edge increases. A lot. A bet on any 7, a bet on the dice landing on any combination of 7, pays 4 to 1. The horn bet, which is a 2, 3, 11, or 12 being rolled, is a 1 roll only bet, and the odds vary depending on which number you want. 2 and 12 pay 30 to 1. 3 and 11 pays 15 to 1. Of course, there is also the any craps bet. This is betting on if a 2, 3, or 12 is rolled and pays 7 to 1. Then there is the C and E bet, which is also known as craps and 11. This is another popular bet at the craps table and is a 1 roll only bet. If you bet on C and E, you're betting that the shooter will roll a 2, 3, 12, or 11. If any of these numbers hit, you win. From a strategy perspective, some people make this bet on the come-out roll due to the fact that if a 12 is rolled, your pass line bet will lose, but you win the C and E bet. Think of it as hedging. And then there's the field bet. This is a 1 roll bet, and if a 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, or 12 is rolled, you win. The 3, 4, 9, 10, and 11 each pay even money, while the 2 and the 12 pay 2 to 1. Here's a tip though. While it appears like a good bet with a ton of numbers available, it generally isn't, since the house keeps the most commonly rolled numbers for itself. Those are some of the more popular bets found on the craps table, so now let's talk about some of the slang and terminology you should know in craps. There's the ace-deuce, which is a 3 being rolled. Then there's what's called the yo, or the yo-11. This is another term for when an 11 is rolled. Boxcars, or midnight, is another way of referring to a 12 being rolled. And then there's, of course, snake eyes, which is when a 2 is rolled. A 7 out is when a 7 is rolled after the point has been set, but before the point has been rolled. A natural is when the shooter rolls 7 or an 11 on the come-out roll. Another term in craps is simply known as hard. For example, a hard 8 is when a shooter rolls 2 4s. A hard 10 would be when the shooter rolls 2 5s, and so on. And of course, you'll see the term roll craps. And this is when you roll a 2, 3, or a 12 on the come-out roll. There's no shortage of things to learn, strategy to develop, and many other aspects of craps that make it a game where you really don't stop learning. The best thing to do is just practice. There is much, much more to the game of craps, but now that you've got the basics down, it's time to hit up a table and start to develop your skills, your game, and your betting strategy. But always remember, play within your limits and always gamble responsibly. To stay up to date on the latest game guides and strategy, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Gamble Online, the world's leading resource for online gambling information since 2008.